Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the accurate and powerful Lego guns. Today we'll be taking a look at this cool blacked out mini semi-automatic rubber band pistol. Enjoy! And here it is, our new Lego semi-automatic pistol. Now, this Lego gun has got quite a few interesting features to it, despite its simplicity. And we'll talk about them later, and of course we'll do the testing later as well. But we're going to give this gun a brief overview as well as quickly showing you how to load it. So, this is a simple rubber band shooting semi-automatic with a simple semi-automatic mechanism here. It also has a working safety switch like this. So here the safety is on, I can't pull the trigger, and the safety is off, I can now pull the trigger and shoot the rounds. It also has a detachable magazine, which is an optional feature, and a sturdy trigger guard. It also has a little barrel bit at the end for you to hook your rubber bands, and a rear sight that aligns with the spindle of the gun. To load it, it is very simple. So what you do is you grab one of these rubber bands. Ideally, you need a small rubber band to be able to get this to shoot out this gun because of the small size of it. And you load it on, so pretend the mag's not here. You would load it on this spindle. So you grab the end of the rubber band and hook it to the end of this barrel piece like so. Then what you then do is rotate this piece here, and now you can load the next rubber band in because that is chambered in place. So you repeat this process for the following 2 rounds, and then when you've got, I'm going to definitely say a maximum of 3 rounds. You do not want to load any more than 3 rounds because of the small size of the mechanism. If you load any more than 3, some of the rubber bands will get stuck. Also, there's still that legitimate concern that you might cause the gun to explode because remember, it is just Lego. Now, an optional feature you can use is to load a magazine like this, which is made out of Lego, into this magwell here. It is an optional feature. You don't need to use it, and it won't affect the performance of the gun. But to load it in, push it in like so, and there you go. You got the mag in, the gun's loaded, and we're now ready to shoot. Like so. Now that I've shown you how to quickly load this gun, it is time to do the range test. So here we are with the range test. What we're going to do is I've got 3 rounds loaded up into this Lego gun. We're going to shoot them all in this direction, and after we've done that, we're going to go down and see how far this gun is able to shoot. So if I load in the decorative mag, here we are with test number 1. Here we are with test number 2. And here we are with our 3rd and final test. So that was the range test, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go down there and see how far this Lego gun is able to shoot. So here we are with the result of the range test. How well did this humble little thing do? Actually, pretty well. The gun went further than I expected, starting off with the one that didn't shoot quite far. This one, which clocked in at 4 meters 88, which, even though it's not the furthest shooting thing, it's pretty good for a small rubber band gun. Then, the one that shot slightly further than that was this one, which clocked in at around 5 meters 20, which is still pretty quite good. But the biggest surprise is the one that clocked in at around 6 meters. And the results of the range test show that even though this Lego gun is small and simple, it is indeed fierce. This Lego gun has a better range than I expected. Not only that, but on the most part, it seems to be quite consistent. There's not too much distance between the one that shot the furthest and the one that didn't shoot the furthest. it's quite a nice tidy little piece. The range is pretty good. So from the range test of this Lego gun, it's clear to see that this Lego gun has got quite a decent range. However, that won't mean jack shit if the gun cannot hit its target correctly. So soon we'll be doing the accuracy test to make sure that it can. But before we do that, allow me to quickly go through the details of this Lego gun. This is a semi-automatic mini blacked out rubber band gun that uses a simple mechanism using these rubber bands, and also uses a fake detachable magazine like this one. First, let us discuss the pistol grip of the Lego gun. The pistol grip is configured in this slanted format, which helps with easier handling, and there's many different configurations with this pistol grip. First off, let's talk about the styling of the pistol grip. So as you can see on this bit, you've got various different cheese slope pieces that help with that kind of curved grip feel. On the other side, since we can't replicate it in this style on the other end, we've beveled in these small Lego Technic base plates with one set of Lego Technic base plates, one stud higher than the rest of them. As you can see, the pistol grip is able to be slanted because of the configuration of the Lego Technic pieces, including the slanted Lego Technic rod and the fact that that is attached to the lower receiver of the gun. Additionally, these same Lego Technic rods are attached to Lego Technic bricks on the pistol grip itself to create this slanted version. Between these Lego Technic pieces, there are Lego bricks in there to fill the void. And also, whilst we're talking about the inside of the pistol grip, there is also a little bit of a gap here so that you can accommodate this magazine like so. And the magazine that you will be putting into the pistol grip will look like this. It, of course, is an optional feature. There is no rounds that are loaded onto it, but there are a few little details. Apart from this being like a nice little blacked out magazine to help kind of not show too protrusely within these Technic holes in the Lego weapon, there is also the additional feature of this gold bit here, as well as this black piece, and this represents the bullet. It's a faux bullet, and on the bottom is the base, which helps with you being able to unload the magazine with ease. And of course, when the magazine is loaded, the gun looks like this. Another additional thing that you may be able to spot, I'm not sure if you can see it here, you see that red piece there? This is a simple Technic part here with this little bit here, the cross-section area. And the point of this is that this part is supposed to be able to accommodate the trigger guard, which looks like this, which is created using various different Technic rods. So this bit goes into there, but the other part here goes into the bottom of the lower receiver, which is this section here. This section also houses the rubber band, which provides tension to the trigger. Attaching it is easy. You pop that bit there, and then you push down and pop this black bit in there like so. And that is the trigger guard of the Lego gun. Now it is time to talk about the upper receiver of this Lego gun. And we're going to start with this little piece here. So this is the bit that helps keep the gun a nice little neat shape. It is basically constructed with various different base plate pieces and these sloped tiles. To attach it on, you see these three little Technic bricks with the single stud axles. All you do, plant it on together like so. The only disadvantage is that piece can easily come off. The next component to this Lego gun is the gun's iron sights. So the iron sights are very simple. It also uses a spindle to help you aim. So the spindle acts also not only as a bit that helps hold the projectiles, the rubber bands, it also acts as this bit that acts as a front sight. These two cheese slope pieces act as a rear sight, and you can aim down the gun like so. Another additional note with the Lego gun is, as per usual, it is smoothened out with these base plates tiles here, not just for the presentation, but also for performance purposes, as per usual. However, you may notice a little bit of a bevel here. Now, this effect was achieved quite simply by using, if I can remove these pieces, a simple 4-stud wide tile with these 2 Lego studs on the other side. Now, this achieves 2 things. It kind of looks like an ejection port type section when I apply it all together, but in addition, it also helps me load the rubber bands with a little bit more ease. Due to the fact that it's a small gun, it's a little bit of a fiddle. This bit makes it a little easier and a little less of a fuss. Now it's time to start talking about our main attraction, the gun's mechanism. So you may notice that there is this simple trigger piece here that uses this rubber band as tension. You pull the trigger and the round starts to fire. What you may notice here is you've got this L-shaped piece here. That the L-shaped piece holds this piece here, which propels the spindle, and this bit here blocks the spindle from moving forward. As soon as you pull the trigger, the spindle is able to move down like so until you release the trigger, in which the spindle is able to reset. And if you dig a little deeper into the Lego gun, you can see all the extra little intricacies of the weapon. Now, of course, you still got that shooting mechanism, and now you can see fully the spindle that the Lego gun is working on. So, what you may notice about this spindle is this is angled slightly differently to the spindle on the outside, the catch that helps move that spindle. And the reason why we were able to do this and how we were able to do this was the way that the Lego cross-section beams, which you may notice a similar cross shape here, and how they work, and you can put them in different positions. And the reason why I use this effect is so that when I pull the trigger, the rubber band will fire on the trigger pull rather than the trigger release, unlike most semi-automatic rubber band guns you see on YouTube. And here is the quick demonstration to show this. In my opinion, having the rubber bands fire on trigger pull rather than trigger release just works much more coherently, because that is what a real gun would do. That is why I prefer it. Another little detail you may be able to notice is, remember how this is the trigger piece. The trigger piece isn't just, unlike last time, the simple piece which connects to this. There is also a slight little part of the trigger that is on the inside of the gun. The reason for this is because of the safety switch. Now, to show you the safety switch is a very simple switch with 2 settings. You've got the fire setting here, and you've got the safe setting here. If I switch this all the way here, which requires a bit of a click when you hear it, what happens now is that the trigger piece here is now blocked by that safety piece here, and try as you may, you are not able to shoot this weapon. What you would need to do to be able to get back into normal shooting mode is swap your safety round and turn it on to this red dot, or anywhere else for that matter, and then you are able to shoot the projectile weapon. Now here is the barrel piece, and it's done similar to our other Lego guns. Uses the cylindrical Lego bricks and these cross-section beams. However, you may notice something slightly different. It's got a little bit of protrusion on there that is cleverly masked by the gun, and the reason why it's a little bit awkward is because of the challenge of keeping it to a 3-stud wide platform, and the 3-stud wide platform does make things a little more difficult, although it does make things a little more pocket size, which was the intention of this gun. So you've got this 2-stud wide, 2 Technic hole piece, as well as that single stud 1 Technic hole piece there. And honestly, the barrel works quite well. It's great for hooking on rubber bands, and it also helps with the aesthetic because it makes things look just that little bit more real. And now for a more detailed demonstration on loading as our final detail of this Lego gun. And I know I've shown you how to do it in just before the range test, but I want to show you loading in a little bit of a greater detail. So you've got a couple of choices when it comes to loading the gun. So you can either do it in this way, so loading in from that spindle first. And there's two choices on how you hook it round. You can either use the little grooves here, or you can go over on the upper parts of it. I think I prefer that personally, because I personally find that the gun's able to, the rubber band on the gun is able to glide over it. You might get a better shot. The other way you can do this loading is go from the rubber band, right? So obviously you twist this thing around like that, and that chambers the round in. The round's not going anywhere until you pull that trigger. And then our next round will go in like that. So you can start from the barrel and go down to that spindle. I'll show you that again. You can hook your rubber band on the barrel first and then hook it onto the spindle. It is entirely up to you. There is no right way or no wrong way. It is ill-advised to go any more than 3 rounds, because if you see the small width of the gun, even if you are able to successfully load that 4th, and I think it is possible, if you load that 4th, also the gun is more likely to blow up and not follow the rules properly, not work as well as you wish it to do. So once you've loaded your rounds, 3, if you really want to go for a push, you could load 4, but I'm going to try it with 4 and see. So then you pull the trigger and fire, and notice how it's getting worse and worse now. This is why you don't load 4. It's starting to clog up a little bit. It took a little while for the rounds to go in, because now if I fire that, what you can now see is from me loading 4, because it's a small base, that rubber band is now stuck in the mechanism. It's not working properly at all. This is why you don't load 4. This is why you stick to 3 rounds. So say you thought, well, I'm going to be daring and load it with 4. It's not a good idea. And of course, I'm going to need to fish this one out and hopefully get it out of the Lego gun. So there you go. Of course, got that final round. Shoot it for all time's sake. Also, what happens is if the rubber bands get stuck within the mechanism, the rubber bands can break. So surprisingly, this Lego gun has got a lot to offer, but is accuracy one of those things? It is now time to find that out here with the accuracy test. Let's go. Can this gun hit those 3 targets? It is now time to find out. Okay guys, so here we are with test number 1. Fail. Here we are with test number 2. Pass. And here we are with our 3rd and final test. Pass. 2 out of 3 pass. From the accuracy test, it is clear to see that this Lego gun is fairly accurate. From the accuracy test, it's clear to see that this Lego pistol is fairly accurate. However, the gun has missed one of the shots. Now, is it due to my shit aim, or is it due to the fact that this gun doesn't have good precision? It will be time to find that out shortly with the precision test. But before we get onto that, allow me to talk you through my own opinion of this Lego gun. So starting off with some of the good things about this Lego gun. The Lego gun is very sleek in design and very well polished. I remember doing a pistol like this back in 2016, semi-automatic, very small shooter. This is a far more polished version with it, with nice little embellishment features. The fake magazine works very well. You've got this nice little fake gold bullet. The one small issue being that that is a little too small for it to actually be a magazine, but hey, sturdiness takes a priority. You've also got a very nice little barrel bit here that isn't just there for looks. It does actually help the rubber bands glide off a lot better than usual. You've got nice little detailing here that just helps keep a realistic gun shape here, almost like a Glock pistol. And you've also got this iron sight here that works very well, despite it being very simplistic. I don't know if you can see, and try and get it. but the iron sights you are able to use to aim with are a little simplistic, but they do work quite well. Another few good features is the mechanism of the gun. The mechanism is fairly simple to load. All you need to do, nothing too complicated, nothing too complex. All you need to do, grab your rubber band, hook it on the spindle, and then you can either hook it through there or on the outside, doesn't matter, and that's nice and simple. And it works very well. You can tailor the loading to how you want. All you need to do, tug that spindle, which is very simple, very easy to remember, and doesn't require you really to know the gun before you actually start using it. And also, another really good thing about this Lego gun is, notice that. I pull the trigger, the round's fired. Yes, one really good thing about this Lego gun is that the rubber band fires on trigger pull rather than on trigger release. I have seen plenty of Lego guns where it does the inverse. You pull the trigger, the rubber band doesn't fire, then you release it and then it starts firing, which is not very realistic and not very beneficial either, because it may affect your accuracy if your shot is not fired on trigger pull as you would normally expect it. Another really good thing is that you've got a very nice working safety here. Like that. As soon as you hear that click, yeah, you can't pull the trigger, try as you may. Yep, you can't do it, which means the safety is very effective and it does do its job. And another really good thing is it is completely and utterly sturdy. You've got a sturdy trigger guard here that will stay in absolute place. You've got sturdy mechanism and insides in there and on the outside here. You've got a very sturdy pistol grip. Not so sturdy magazine, but that's just an extra feature that's not really important. And also it doesn't really expend too much in terms of rubber bands. It's quite cheap in terms of the actual rubber band usage, because this is the same rubber band I put on this gun since build, and it's yet to even start showing signs of wear and tear, which is really good. Now that I've talked about some of the good features, now it's time to go on the bad features, starting off with one massive issue. So if I just quickly load the gun, so I've got the gun loaded here. Notice that I loaded 3 rounds in this gun, but I've only got 1 round left, and I only pulled the trigger once. Yes, sometimes this gun does have a bit of a freak accident, and sometimes it does inadvertently cause a 2-round burst, which is not very helpful at all. Now, I have got a little bit of speculation as to what actually happens here. So what may happen is you're going to be firing the rubber band, and obviously that goes through, and it may decide to accidentally get you to pull the trigger twice and thus trigger an accidental 2-round burst. It's still not very helpful, and it does cause issues, especially when you try and shoot the gun, you shoot 2 rounds, and it actually did happen on the shooting montage as well. Another really bad thing is, although the gun is very sturdy for the type of gun it is, things may start to pull up. This is especially apparent if you lock the safety in, and if you pull the trigger too hard, the gun will start to break on the inside. Still sturdy in comparison to other guns of this size, but still something to be very wary of. Talking about the safety, another issue with the safety is, okay, so the safety is locked nice and clear. You then undo the safety like this, and it just isn't very securely in now. It's just kind of all over the place, and you have to just push it in like that in order for it to stay in position. Nothing too significant, but it can get pretty annoying. Another small issue with this gun is the barrel. Sometimes the barrel will start to loosen up, mostly due to tension, and nothing too significant. If you do want to put it back in place, I'd probably recommend just pushing this Lego cylindrical piece in like that, pulling the axle. Although it's worth saying, if you're using a real gun, this is not a way to fix an issue. Certainly not, especially since your hand goes in front of that barrel. And one of the final issues is some of the aesthetical features can get rather annoying if they aren't staying in place. So I told you about the magazine not always staying in place, especially if it goes like this. You pop it in and sometimes it does that, and sometimes that happens to the gun as well. It's very annoying, and it's not the best for it. Another really bad thing is not necessarily about the gun's performance, but about the gun itself. The mechanism is on the outside. Yep, that's right. The mechanism is on the outside. This is not realistic at all. And it does kind of limit your hand a little bit. Now, not as much as before, because yeah, it is kind of ambidextrous, but I mean, if you kind of hold, you've got to be very careful with how you hold it if you're holding it on this side. So I would recommend really shooting it with your right hand side hand here and using it right-handed, even though I reckon that the gun would in and of itself be ambidextrous. Another thing is, I did say the iron sights were good, but it is a little hard to use the iron sights. The iron sights work well if you know how to use them, but in case you can't see this bit or it doesn't feel as clear, it's a little bit of a pain to get to grips with that sort of iron sight. All in all, I think this gun is good, a great addition to the LEGO Guns arsenal. It's got many great things, but unfortunately it doesn't go without their problems, and the problems it has, they are quite abundant. But now it is time to see if this gun is precise. Well, the gun has got a decent range and is accurate, but is it precise? Well, now it is time to find out. Now, our gun may be accurate, but the issue with accuracy is unless the gun is precise, the accuracy is merely luck. So here we are with a precision test. Is this gun precise? Well, now it's time to find out. So we have a target in a fixed position over there, and we have this gun in the fixed position here. And let us get started with the precision test with test number 1. Pass. And now here we are with test number 2. Pass. And here we are with our third and final test. Pass. All 3 pass. From the precision test, it is clear to see that although my aim was a little off, this gun is precise. Though it is worth to note that this isn't always the case. The scope of 3 shots is generally pretty good, especially when paired with the accuracy test. But I have had 1 or 2 odd occasions where the precision on the gun isn't exactly perfect. It's only a small minor thing, and on the most part, this gun is very precise, very accurate, and is an all-round good gun. And that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more, click subscribe. And of course, next time we're going to be changing things up a little bit. Now, this gun is pretty good, but it's very basic. It's a simple rubber band shooter. I kind of want to up the ante a lot more with this massive behemoth. This is a semi-automatic brick shooter. It's got a nice semi-automatic trigger here, and is version 2, if you will, of a 2016 rifle of a similar type, with the main difference being you're all going to be feeding the rounds in this gun using this magazine. Now, loading this gun is very, 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 very simple. I'm just going to pull this, although it is a little fiddly. I've got the magazine loaded. I'm just going to quickly show you in action. It's also got an adjustable sight here. You've also got an adjustable stock too, so you can adjust the stock to your liking, and it shoots fairly well, like so. It's pretty reliable, and it's got a little bit of a but due to the fact that it has got a lack of power, although it may be slightly accurate if you figure out how to fiddle with the iron sights, this won't be a part of accurate and powerful LEGO guns, but I'll be very looking forward to showing you this LEGO gun. So that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, keep on building.